Namaskaram, namaskaram all of you.
Namaskaram, Sadhguruji.
Why only you guys are… I am also an Indian, why am I not younger?
Sir, you are young at heart.
What do you mean just heart? Only heart is young, everything is younger. That's why
So,
I'm… that's why I'm talking to you, because I am also an young Indian only.
yes, absolutely, sir. And Namaskaram, Sadhguruji, and
Wonderful,
welcome.
wonderful to meet all of you, all the young people. Namaskaram.
Uh, Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a conversation with Sadhguruji on rising up in challenging times. We all know Sadhguruji, but would like to highlight some of the many introductions about him. Guruji is ranked among the 50 most influential people in India. Sadhguru is a yogi, a mystic, a best-selling author, and a poet. Absolute clarity of perception places him in a unique place, not only in the matters of spiritual guidance, but in business, environmental, and international affairs. He opens new dimensions on all that he touches. Guruji's talks have earned him the reputation of a speaker, an opinion maker, and an international leader. He has been conferred upon the Padma Vibhushan. He has spoken on various forums across the world, including the UN World Headquarters, the UNESCO Headquarters, World Economic Forum, the World Bank, the House of Lords, TED, Microsoft, Google, the Google Headquarters. He has also been invited to speak at leading educational institutions, Oxford, Stanford, Harvard, Yale, Wharton, MIT, and among others. Over the years, Sadhguru has launched mega ecological initiatives. The movements such as the Rally for Rivers and the Kaveri Calling to address urgent need to revitalize Indian rivers, an issue related to soil, water, and climate change. Welcome, Guruji. Guruji, to introduce young Indians in a few words, we started in 2002, and in the past 18 years, we have steadily grown in 49 strong cities, creating and fostering an ecosystem of innovation, entrepreneurship, and empathy with our 30,000 UA students. We also work with a network of schools and rural pockets across India, engaging young minds on the concept of road safety, victim organ, Project Masoom, accessibility, and climate change. While we came across recent times, unprecedented times, and we have not shied from, doing COVID relief work. We have touched approximately 7.5 lakh people in COVID relief and providing them with food, shelter, uh, PPEs, masks, wherever the need arises. Guruji, before I hand over the screen to the panelists, I have a question to ask. And our theme for climate change is water. We are challenging young minds not only to conserve water, but how can we manage water? When one part of India is having floods and the other part is struggling with the scarcity of water, we would love to know your thoughts. How can we manage or balance water crisis?
Namaskaram. See, one fundamental thing that I feel most people are missing the point on is, even this question says that, why there is flood and then there is drought, and there is flood and there is drought continuously happening. We must understand these two things are the two sides of the same coin. How does a flood happen and why does it lead to a drought? One classic example of this was the Kerala flood, and within 2 months, all the wells are dry, everything is in drought condition. Within 2 months of such a massive flood which engulfed really a large part of the state. See, essentially we need to understand the only source of water that you have in a tropical country, in India, is the monsoon. River, lake, pond are not sources of water. These are destinations of water where slowly water gathers in those places. But the only source you have is monsoon. So monsoon brings in billions of liters of water. How much can we hold in the soil will determine how long this year's stock lasts for us. Now, the water that comes down, it has to percolate down into the soil. But if it is completely stripped of all vegetation, the water will flow on the surface. When the water flows on the surface, you call it a flood. If it percolates down, it will create variety, it will replenish all the water bodies, including the wells, ponds, lakes and rivers. This is how it happens. If water has to percolate, then there must be enough vegetation, there must be enough organic content in the soil, otherwise water will not percolate, it will just flow on the surface. So once there is a flood, you must know a drought is coming. It's as simple as that. There is no such thing as drought and flood being different only because the flood happened. Flood happened means the water did not go where it was supposed to go. It just flowed on the surface, destroyed the land, took away the topsoil and made it much poorer than what it was before the water came. And people are surprised, so much water was there, where did it go? It will naturally run away, it will evaporate, so many things will happen. Only if it percolates down and gets stored in the soil. We must understand the greatest reservoir of water on the planet is soil. These 39… the average topsoil in the world is about 39 inches. These 39 inches of topsoil can store 8 times more water, that is 800% more water than all the rivers on the planet put together. That's how much water the topsoil can store. But right now what's happened is, in India now we have declared 52% of our soil as degraded soil. In a tropical land where it was so rich, one of the earliest nations to develop agriculture, which we have a history of over 12,000 years of agriculture, because this was the easiest place to grow anything, because the soil was so rich. In terms of bioactivity in the soil, a fistful of soil in southern India, for example, good soil if you take, there are over 10 billion organisms, okay, and over 50,000 species of organisms, microorganisms. It is only if they are there, soil is rich, and they will only be there if there is substantial replenishment of organic content should be going into the soil. How will organic content go into the soil? The only two sources for organic content is the green litter from the trees and the animal waste. Animals are all going abroad, trees are gone long time ago. To what extent they are gone means, for example, Ganga Basin. Ganga Basin accounts for 1/3 of India's geography and 25% of its agricultural produce. In Ganga Basin, we have removed 92% of green cover in the last 70 years. What's our plan? What is our plan? Our plan is a disaster, because our plan itself is a disaster. When we execute it or when it happens, it's going to be a bigger disaster. Now, where it is going in terms of water in the world means 4 billion people on the planet right now are experiencing 1 month of severe water stress. This, they're estimating in 15 years' time, will easily go into 3 to 4 months in a year, not 1 month. Right now, 1 month they're suffering, 3 to 4 months. This means your basic living itself will be upside down for nearly 4 billion people. In the last 25 years, 2.3 billion people also have been affected by floods. Today, 1 billion people don't have access to drinking water. This number is going to increase significantly. So, based on this is what the Rally for Rivers project was done, and a document which is over 760 pages of recommended policy was given to the central government within 2.5 months. They made this the official recommendation for all the states. A few states went proactive on this, other states, well, it's one more file in their office. Unfortunately, we don't realize the urgency and what this means to the next generation of people, that we are depriving rich soil to the country means we're depriving life in this country. So if we go like this, where we will go, everybody knows, but nobody has the time to do anything about it. For example, that's why we took up Kaveri Basin as a sample to fix. Right now that work is going on. In spite of the virus, our volunteers are on the ground, and this year little over 1.1 crore trees will go into agricultural lands. But this need to scale up next year, we are gearing up for that. So if we plant this 242 crore trees in the Kaveri Basin, which is approximately 83,000 square kilometers, in about 12 years' time, these trees will sequester 9 to 12 trillion liters of water, 9 to 12 trillion liters of water. The entire Kaveri flow right now is about 21 trillion, that is including the monsoon season. So nearly 60%, 50 to 60% of extra water will stay in the soil. That means right now Kaveri is not reaching the ocean for 5 months in a year. Most people are not even aware of this, that Kaveri, which was a perennial river for millennia, has become a seasonal river in the last 25 years. For 5 months it is not touching the ocean, 175 kilometers. Short of the ocean, it's drying up for almost 4 to 5 months. Now if Kaveri has to flow, you need these trees. If you plant this many trees, the water that is sequestered, this is 9 to 12 trillion liters of water, this will flow throughout the year. See, all you're trying to do is, because the only source of water is monsoon, and when it comes, we should do everything possible to see that the water stays in the soil and slowly goes out. Right now, monsoons come, immediately floods everywhere. Within 2-3 months, everywhere there is drought. So these are not two different phenomena, it's the same phenomena. Once you see lot of water flowing on the surface, this means there is going to be a drought, inevitably. Because if the water has to go in, the soil has to be rich, it must be organically rich, and there must be substantial amount of root, the vegetation and network of roots for the water to sink in and replenish the groundwater sources. So what to do, everybody knows, what is the problem, everybody knows, but everybody thinks it can happen tomorrow, not in my watch, let somebody else do it. So people have been asking me, Sadhguru, why did you take it up? So I keep asking them, why did you not take it up? Why is it that you didn't take it up? Because there is, this proverbial who will bell the cat kind of thing. To bell the cat, you need an idiot. So you found me, all right? Because I can't just look at a serious problem evolving and simply, watch it, okay, let somebody else handle it. This has to be done, this is not one person's job, this is not one organization's job, this has to be done on a war footing. As a part of this, now we have globally started a movement called Conscious Planet. All our plans have been kind of postponed by about 6 months now because of the virus situation. Otherwise, by now we would have been very active, but even now we are stitching together partnerships across the world with various influencers. The idea is just this. See, why is it not happening? Everywhere in the world this problem is there except a few countries. All the tropical and subtropical regions have the similar problem. Our problem is much more exaggerated simply because of the population density, but all of them have the similar problems. Why nobody is doing anything? Simply because there are resources. We want to build a house, we want to fly a rocket to the Mars, we want to do so many things, we want to build an army. All these are made. In all this, who is going to do something which will bear result after 15-20 years? First of all, the problem behind all this is the democratic system of governance. In the sense, democratic governments have only 4 to 6 years of life. In this country, it's 5 years, in United States it's 4 years, there are few countries which is 6 years terms. So when the term of the government is only 5 to 6 years, why would any government want to invest on something which will bear fruit after 15-20 years? When they invest, they want things to happen in their time. So nobody is thinking long term, nobody wants to invest long term. I can do what I want, you people as an organization can do what you want, all this is useful and meaningful, but this is not going to fix the problem. The problem, if it has to be fixed, government machinery should be behind it, massive budgets needs to go into it worldwide, only then this will happen. For this to happen, it has to be in the policy. For it to be in the policy, the people should say, we want it. But people don't know what's the problem. When you say water problem, everybody says, I use only 1 mug of water to brush my teeth. Well, this may help your local municipal corporation, this is not going to fix the ecological problem. So entire campaign, it's distressing for me to see on the televisions, every day all kinds of influencers coming up and saying, I'm using less water for my bath, I use only 1 bucket of water for my bath, I brush my teeth with less water. Please understand, this may be some civic sense. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's a good thing, but it is only civic sense. As a person who shares water resources in the city, you're using less water so that everybody else has water, wonderful. I appreciate that civic sense, but it is not an ecological solution in any sense. Because right now the problem and the magnitude of the problem is way bigger than your toothbrush business, much bigger. For this to happen, you have to put at least 40% of tropical land in the world under shade. If you don't do that, it's not going to happen. As a part of this, what this planet, conscious planet movement is about, this is about, we want to see that in every country, three top political parties, we want to see that in their election manifesto, if not number one item is always economy. Number two item must be ecology in every political manifesto. If this has to happen, see, there are 5.26 billion people who have franchise. That means they're over 18 years of age and they have, they can elect a government. Out of these 5.26 billion people, I want to instigate and inspire at least 3 billion people. That is 60% of the adult population should be aware. What should be they aware of? Right now, if you say ecology, United Nations is throwing out material, many other scientific communities are throwing out material. You try to read it, it's… first thing is it's 10,000 pages, and if you read it, you anyway won't understand it because it's PhD kind of stuff. So we are working with United Nations agencies, some of the agencies, to come to this. We want to segment the planet as different latitudinal segments, equatorial region, tropical, subtropical, temperate like this. In each region, what are the 5 things that must happen? Suppose your country is in the tropical region, what are the things that must happen? 5 things. What are the 2 to 3 things that should never happen? At least 60% of the population which walks on the road must be conscious of this, that this is happening, oh, this is a good thing. This is happening, this is not what should happen in our country, everybody should know. Right now, you put it out in such complex PhD material, most common people right now in India or also everywhere in the world, not more than 1 to 2% of the population is aware of the serious ecological problem that we are… impending problem that we are facing right now. It is already there, that also people are not aware. The impending disaster that's waiting in front of us, most people are not aware. Most people's idea is, say now Chennai people, some of you from Chennai? Chennai people suddenly became ecologically conscious because there is no water in Chennai 2 years ago, totally. Now suddenly everybody is concerned ecology. Once again, their idea of ecology is no water in the waterworks. If the tap is dripping water, they don't care a damn what's happening to the rest of the world. So ecological concern is not just of comfort and discomfort here, you and me at this moment. It is something that needs to be looked at long term. So for this to happen, we want to enroll 3 billion people who are conscious of 5 things that must happen in their country, 2 to 3 things that should never happen in their country. This is the Conscious Planet movement. I invite all of you, young people in India, whether they're in your organization or not, to be a part of it because this is most important. This is not… see, when you say economy, it is always today's work. When you say ecology, everybody thinks it's tomorrow. Well, tomorrow never comes, so it never happens. Unless we invest big budgets and government machinery behind it, it won't happen. This is not some rocket science, it's as simple as this. See, in a tropical country, rains come. In this country, about 40 years ago, the monsoon rains were stretched from anywhere between 80 to 120 to 125 days. Today the monsoon is coming, the same volume of water is coming, but it is happening within 40 to 75 days. See, it is already June end, still no monsoon rain, only pre-monsoon rains and then wind is coming, no rain is coming. When it comes in great volumes. This is also happening simply because of the high pressure, low pressure created because of the empty lands which get so hot, they are pushing away the clouds elsewhere and when it comes, it will just come in such a big rush that we can't hold it. So the important thing is to create substantial amount of green cover. Where is the land? Because there is population pressure. This is why tree-based agriculture is very, very important. It's extremely important. We've converted over 70,000 farmers in Tamil Nadu alone to tree-based agriculture. Their incomes in 5 to 7 years have gone up anywhere between 300 to 800%. That is the kind of difference it makes to their economy, because what they grow is very valuable on the tree-based agriculture. This means not only trees, between trees they grow crops. So the nutritional value is very high, market price is higher, the yield is higher, and above all, the soil is in good condition, because without putting tree leaves and animal waste into the land, soil will become salt. Soil will become sand, I'm sorry. Right now, all the thing that they're throwing is bags and bags of salt. You call it urea, you call it complex, you call it whatever, essentially just salt. If we want to know what it does to the soil, none of us Indians can eat food without salt mixed in our this thing. If we have a half a kilogram or 1 kilogram of food, maybe 1 spoon of salt we're adding. But one day you must have a meal, one meal alone is enough, realization will happen. People must be served with just half a kilogram of salt to be eaten. One meal if you eat like this, you understand what we are doing to India's soil. Because if we kill the soil, we have killed the nation. Please, it's very, very, very important that this must happen in our generation, not in the next generation.
Thank you, Sadhguruji. I am sure we are going to take this advice and work on it going forward. I also have with me Smita, who's my friend and also the Vice Chair of Young Indians. Smita, if you can unmute yourself.
Yes. Good afternoon, Guruji. Namaskaram. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. It's a unique opportunity for all of us. I've actually thought about this moment for so long, and the fact that we have you here with us…
How did you foresee the virus, huh?
Not the virus, but the fact that we were getting this opportunity to, interact with you. And there are so many questions that each one of us have in our own minds about the times that we are facing. And to get this opportunity to hear from you yourself, I think I've used this phrase before, and this is your words that I keep close to myself, that a guru cannot be chosen. Deepen your longing and the guru will choose you. And I think, Guruji, it is our collective longing today that we are here with you. I'd like to introduce, I think Raghu is not on the call, so I'll first start with the other question that we have for you. We've actually thought a lot about the times that we are facing, and I think one of the people that we sometimes look over is the fact that these are very, very unusual times for our children also. They are going through many, many challenging experiences, and I feel sometimes they are not able to verbalize their feelings properly. I look at my own children and I wonder what kind of things are they coping with, and whether they are even able to share them with me, and what sort of mental turmoil it must be bringing for them. So is there anything that you suggest, Guruji, that we can do to help them?
I personally wish I was a child at this time, because no school for 4 months and no possible date announced. Oh, this would have been paradise for me. I don't know why children are suffering this anyway. So I think this is because I'm not trying to belittle the situation, it's a serious situation, all right, but a child is not made to worry unless he is being constantly groomed as to how to worry about everything by the parents and the teachers. Examination is coming, are you not worried? Why am I worried, huh? This is a talk that adults do all the time. Why is a child worried? You think worry is a virtue? You sit and worry about something, you think it's a virtue? No, it's a disaster, because you don't know how to handle your own faculties. Your thoughts are getting into compulsive mode and you're worrying. And unfortunately, fear and worry and all the anxiety, all these things, we are making a virtue out of it. Once you make a virtue out of it, well, they'll pick it up as early as possible. Maybe you started worrying when you were 18, but your children will start at 12. The next generation will be born worried maybe, I don't know because we are creating an atmosphere like this. See, compared to any generation which has lived on this planet ever in the history of humanity, you and me are doing better than that, isn't it so? Hello? All of us, is it not so? We are eating better, we are nourished better, better communication, better transportation, better everything, isn't it? But we are cribbing like nobody else ever did. So let the next generation not learn to crib at a very early age. It's very important that they appreciate what is there. No school means what's the problem? Even learning need not stop today. There was a time if your teacher did not read the textbook, my father used to say when they were… he used to say, "Where is your textbook?" I throw it somewhere. And he says, "How you can do this? When we were growing up, there was only one textbook for the entire class. Only the teacher will read it loudly or he will make one of the students read it loudly because nobody else could afford a textbook. Only one textbook was there for 50, 100 people. When I was growing up, all of us had a textbook. Well, it was not with me, it would be somewhere, but we had one. But today, what textbook? The entire library is on your computer, it's on your phone. The whole universe is right there. And what are we complaining about learning? What are we complaining about what? Except for those people who are threatened with starvation and those people who are losing their loved ones, or those people their own life is being threatened because they got infected, that's a different matter. Rest of us, this is the time to stay at home and improve ourselves, make ourselves into better human beings, make ourselves more competent, to use our thought, emotion, energy, body, everything better in this world. What is there to complain and worry about? Well, because we are not worrying because we are not able to go to school or to work. Because when they were going to work, I didn't see people dancing on the street and going to work, I didn't see any such thing. That happens only here at the yoga center. Because on the street, everybody is driving their dream car and you see their faces. Joy is the last thing that you can find, you don't find a trace of joy in most faces. Only somebody who's driving a stolen car, you will see they're driving with joy. All the others, they're driving their dream cars with great worry. So, please do not in any way, aggrandize worry, fear, anxiety. This is not why we are living here. We are not living here to go to school. We are not living here to go to work. We are here because we want to have a profound experience of life, and when it comes to activity, we want to have maximum possible impact we can have in the world. This is all, isn't it? Hello? Because we are not here forever, we are here for a little bit of time. In this time, one thing is, we want to experience life as deeply or as profoundly as we can, and when it comes to activity, we want to do impactful activity. In some way, it must have impact in the world. Well, for this, you can do it by going to school, you can do it by not going to school, you can do it by going to work, you can do it by not going to work. In every possible way we can do it, so let's not waste this time. This is a tremendous opportunity, this may never come again, that you are at home. See, for me, in the last 40 years, I've never been home for more than 8–10 days at a time. Never. Now I'm at home for over nearly 85 days, I think now, over 80 days. Well, I'm really enjoying sleeping on the same bed, eating from my own kitchen and lot of work also happening. See, I'm talking to you wherever you are. Otherwise, we were stupid enough to think if… where are you from, Smita?
Guruji, I'm in Lucknow. I have had the privilege of welcoming you here before also.
Okay.
Yes.
So, we were stupid enough to think that if I have to see you, I have to come to Lucknow. Okay, now look at me, right here with you. We're all getting smarter, aren't we? So, let us use this opportunity to make our lives better, because rarely our lives gave time for us to even take 5 minutes to do something that we want. We were all over the place because activity just keeps you up. So this is a great time. Children especially should not complain. As I told you in the very beginning, I wish I was a child where there was no possibility of school in the coming year. That would be my dream. It never happened during my time. The longest break that I got, unscheduled break that I got is the president, Zakir Hussain, and somebody else died at the same time, and I got 4 days break and we were celebrating like crazy. Now the virus.
Thank you, Guruji.
I was only 10 years of age when that happened. Later, I wouldn't celebrate somebody's.
So, Guruji, I also have here with me Mr. Raghu Kailas, and Raghu is from Chennai, and he's a past national chairman for Young Indians, and he's also a very, very vibrant and energetic person. So, Raghu has a question for you, Guruji, at handover.
Sadhguruji, firstly, thank you for blessing us with your presence today and for sharing your infinite wisdom. My question was related to what.
Hey, Raghu, if you can join Young Indians, I can also join. Come on.
I've been thrown out, Sadhguruji. I'm past the age. I'm the past.
Okay.
They have thrown me out, and I think in many ways you're probably a lot more youthful than many of us in Young Indians. So there is a lot that we are to learn from you. My question, Sadhguruji, was, we keep talking about the economic impact of COVID and the job loss and the medical impact of COVID, but we talk very little about the mental impact of COVID. For a migrant worker who has lost his job, or for an employee who is not getting his salary, or for that matter, a business owner who doesn't know if his business will survive, there is a lot of mental turmoil going on. What can we do as individuals? What can we do to people around us? And what can we do as young Indians to alleviate this problem, to reach out and help people overcome what they construe as a difficult phase?
Well, some of the United Nations agencies are predicting a mental illness pandemic across the world. Well, this is really tragic because, see, when there is a challenge in front of us, these are really challenging times, no question about that. When there is a challenge in front of us, we must be at our best. Physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, we must be at our best. But unfortunately, most human beings, whenever there is a challenge in their life, their own thought, their own emotion, their own body works against them. You can call this illness. If it crosses a certain line, you call this as illness. Otherwise, people think it's normal to be stressful, to be tense, to be anxious. They think it's normal. I don't have a job, I'm stressed. If I have a job, every day I have to go, so I'm stressed. All right, tell me one thing that they are not stressed about. If they are poor, poverty stresses them. You make them rich, tax stresses them, all right? No education, that stresses them. Put them to school, examination stresses them. No marriage, that stresses them. Get them married, you know. So many things. Tell me one thing that they are not causing suffering to themselves with. Just whatever you give them, they will try to poke themselves. Above all, let's look at the most fundamental thing. What is this mental turmoil that one goes through? This is all it is. See, you heard of Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin said something like this. I'm making it very simplistic. A goat could have grown into a giraffe in so many million years. A pig could have become an elephant in so many more million years. But a monkey became a man rather too quickly. This is theory of evolution in a certain way. So how quickly he became means, anthropologists have been looking for a missing link and they haven't found one. So a monkey became a man rather too quickly. What this means is, see, in terms of DNA difference between you and a chimpanzee, between human beings and a chimpanzee, it is only 1.23% difference. 1.23% is not much of a difference, isn't it? So only 1.23% DNA difference. But in terms of intelligence and awareness, we are worlds apart from a chimpanzee, and that's our problem. We have an intelligence for which we don't have a stable enough platform. So this is what we need to do. One most important part of what we call as inner engineering or the yogic system is just this, to stabilize the platform in such a way that your intelligence always works for you, never against you. You may call it by many exotic names. There are 72, as far as I know, there are 72 exotic names for variety of mental sufferings and imbalances that you go through. But essentially what's happened is just this, your intelligence is turned against you. Yes or no? If I'm poking you with a knife from outside, this is me causing suffering to you. If you are poking yourself from inside, essentially the sharpness and the possibility of your intellect has turned against you and become a big problem, isn't it? So we gave you a knife, but you don't know how to hold it, you don't know which is the handle. You held it on the blade side, you're bleeding and you're complaining. You're holding it wrongly, why don't we understand that? If your mind was not as sharp as it is, you wouldn't have any mental problem. Even now if you remove half your brain, you won't have any mental problem, everybody will be fine. Only thing is the possibilities also will be gone. So what is a great possibility, we are making it into a terrible problem. Now viruses come, so my loss of salary, this, that, everything. I am not trying to belittle the economic challenge that we have. It's a massive challenge. The challenge is not just for migrant labor, the challenge is not just for a business owner, even an institution like us, all right? We have thousands of people on our hands. Every day we are cooking for about 15,000 people here, but absolutely no revenue, all right? Last 4 months, simply no revenue, but every day we're cooking for 15,000 people. There are free schools to run, there are services to run. We're trying to do everything possible to keep it up. So it is a challenge for everybody, from the government to the last man. Everybody is being seriously challenged. So when a challenge arises, the question is, do you want to rise or do you want to dig a grave for yourself? This is something we must decide. How do we do it? There are enough tools, there's simple tools that we are offering free of cost to everybody, but they have to invest that much time. At least 15–20 minutes a day if you can't invest towards your well-being, what can we say about the worth of anybody's life? If you think your life is worthwhile and valuable, should you not invest 120 minutes a day to service yourself a little bit? If you're not willing to invest that, I don't see how you get a right to complain about it, because you were not made badly. In terms of design of creation, are you made badly? You are made wonderfully. Yes, in terms of possibility, intelligence, everything has been given to you, you are the peak of evolution on this planet. But see how we are cribbing about everything. Whatever comes our way, all we have is complaint and complaint and complaint. I think this is a great possibility. There are many challenges. Maybe we will have to live like how we were living 20 years ago, probably, in the next 6 months or 1 year, possibly. It's very much possible if things go wrong. If this continues as it's surging up again, suppose these cycles of, when you do the lockdown, it'll come down, when you relax it, it'll again go up. If this keeps happening, if the virus doesn't mutate and becomes more mild that we can easily manage it, if that doesn't happen, if it keeps happening for the next 12 to 18 months, very easily we will start living how we were living 25 years ago, 25 years ago. Well, we have to do with less. It's all right, 20 years ago, life was not bad, it was good. Only problem is, in the last 20 years, we pulled out nearly 240 million people from below the poverty line in this country. But unfortunately, it'll push them right back once again if this happens. But we have the experience of 20 years behind us. It need not necessarily end up like that. We can transform this. If human beings, instead of filling themselves with anxiety and worry and nonsense, if they fill themselves with joyfulness, love and compassion in their hearts, they will come up with something to do. It is a challenge. You are in Chennai, so do you ever do… No, I don't think there's any wave surfing in Chennai, isn't it? Nobody is surfing the waves. Nobody even goes to the beach except to eat kadlekai, unfortunately. I'm saying all these things matter because we are staying away from life itself, so everything seems to be a challenge. If you are riding the wave, what would be your dream wave? Tsunami, isn't it? Hello?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
If
absolutely.
if you were riding a wave and you know how to ride a wave, your dream wave would be 100-foot tall wave which is called a tsunami, which everybody thinks is a disaster. No, it is just another big wave. We must know how to handle it. Well, some of us will pay the price with our life, some of us will lose people who are dear to us, we will lose our comforts, maybe our life will go back, but this doesn't mean it's end of life. This is important. Above all, there are tools to manage, there are tools and technologies to manage our inner well-being. This is what inner engineering is about. I really ask all of you at, this young Indian group, go through this. For others who don't have the intellectual bandwidth to go through something like that, there are simple processes, 10-15 minutes, all free of cost. They can just download an app and do these simple things to bring a sense of balance in their mind, balance in their chemistry, and above all, enhance your immune system, which is what is going to keep us alive. One fundamental challenge we have, which is the only thing that we must bother about right now is, in the next 12 months, all of us should stay alive and ensure people around us stay alive. That's a challenge we have to take care of. Rest is just a situation. It's for us to handle it well or badly, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you, Sadhguruji. Incidentally, we have a very nice surfing school here in Chennai. So, let's see, they have a surfing festival every year.
Okay
Thank you, Guruji. Guruji, I'd also like to introduce you to some of our Yuva students. So young Indians actually associate very strongly with the youth of the country and endeavor to make a difference to the future of the country. We associate 30,000 Yuva students across and we have two very, very bright ones here with us today. And I'd just like to introduce to you so we have Yashwant Siddharth, who's a final graduate student from Sri Sairam Engineering College in Chennai. And Yashwant has a question for you, Guruji. Yashwant, can…
Namaskaram, Yashwant.
Namaskaram, Guruji. I've been a very big fan of you, and I've been watching all of your interviews lately with Tom Billieu, with other dignitaries, and it's been a really wonderful experience. And my question for you is pretty much probably the mainstream question that everybody has, because we are right now in the process of graduation. We're very unsure about that. But my personal question is, people benchmark success. People benchmark success in life with some metrics, money, pleasure, social status, and everything. But I really don't believe in the concept of success, because I've come to a point from the readings, from the books I've read, it's not about being materialistic. It's not about the external pleasures that we seek. But there has to be a level that one individual can reach so he can claim success for himself. How do you identify that success? How one individual identifies that kind of success for him?
See, the problem with human beings is, you put them into a certain social circumstance and they will let that social circumstance rule their entire life. Now you're in Chennai, your idea of success is what is in Chennai, you want to be little up there. Suppose you are in United States, what is there in that you want to be up there. Like this, people are allowing a social situation to craft their consciousness. This is not the way life is made. Human consciousness should determine the social situation. Social situation should not determine the human consciousness. Having said that, the simple way to understand this is, you pay attention to any other life. Let's say an ant is crawling, what's his idea of success? A plant or a tree is standing there, what is this mango tree's idea of success? Please look at it. What do you think the mango tree wants to do? It wants to grow coconuts?
No.
There's no such thing. It wants to be a full-fledged mango tree. What do you think is the idea of success in an ant or an elephant? It wants to be a full-fledged ant or an elephant. This is all. You want to be a full-fledged human being. This is all it is. But we clearly know what is a full-fledged mango tree, what is a full-fledged elephant, but we don't know what is a full-fledged human being. That's the only problem we have. Because for every other creature, nature has put two lines. Within those two lines, they live and die. For a human being, there is only bottom line, or even the bottom line is not there, there are no lines. Because nature trusted your intelligence that for you, lines are not needed, you can be what you wish to be. So a whole lot of people have made a mess out of themselves. This trust, this intelligence, this awareness that's invested in us has become such a waste because what they are doing, one thing they are not becoming full-fledged human, they're becoming more and more dependent on something or somebody all the time. Whether it is in terms of food or drink or intoxicants or sexuality or something, they're becoming constantly dependent upon something, or emotionally, psychologically, socially, they are crippling themselves. The idea that nature took away the bars of your life is so that you will soar into the highest possible level which other creatures do not have the possibility. Their entire life is about survival. Stomach full, their life is settled. But once you're a human being, stomach full, stomach empty, only one problem, stomach full, 100 problems. This is the nature of the human being. Because survival is not the goal of our life. Survival is needed, we have to take care of it. I think in this generation, Yashwant, for you it might have changed a little bit, but in our generation when we are growing up, the only thing that the parents are asking is, what will you do? What will you do? Will you become a doctor? Will you become an engineer? How will you earn your living? How will you earn your living? It was all about earning your living. I never understood what this is, what is their problem. I
Same
never
question
thought…
prevails actually.
Even
Still
today
now.
they're continuing.
Yeah, the same question prevails everywhere.
It never occurred to me, how will I earn my living? And I will tell you little bit about myself. As I was growing up, I was determined not to qualify myself for anything. My father being a physician, he was determined I must become a doctor. If doctor doesn't happen, I must become an engineer. If that doesn't happen, something else. He's got a gradation of qualifications in his mind. So, in my mind, I thought it was just absolutely silly that I must worry about my survival because every other creature is surviving. Every one of the creatures, from an ant to an elephant, everybody makes their living, isn't it? In their own way, unless we mess with it, they're making their living. What is the big deal about me making a… when an earthworm can make a living, with such a big brain, why can't I make a living if I want to? So I never invested myself in that direction. People were worried and my father always says, he has no fear in his heart, what will happen to him? One day I was around 12 years of age, I turned around and asked, when did fear become a virtue? When did fear become a virtue? We are nurturing these things all the time, what will happen, what will happen? See, the most important thing as a human being is, the human faculty should grow to the fullest possible capability. What to do with it is not even a concern. We will do something according to the need of the times. Today, people, if I go to some place, I was in the economic forum and this professor from Harvard comes and says, oh, you are that amazing tree planter. I said, no, I'm not a tree planter. So, no, you planted millions. Okay, I planted trees, but I'm not a tree planter. So he asked me, then what do you do? I said, I make people flower. Why I'm telling you this is, it's important that you as a human being blossom into your fullest possibility. What you will do according to the needs of the times. I'm planting trees because there are no trees. If there were enough trees, why the hell would I go planting trees? I will do what is needed because when you are full-blown human being, you will have no needs of your own. You will simply pick up what you can do best and do that. And that's how a human being should be. At this stage in your life, do not invest in fear thinking it's a virtue. Do not invest in worry thinking it's some great thing you're doing. It's the dumbest thing to do to turn our own intelligence against ourselves, isn't it? Your intelligence should work for the well-being of this life. If this life is well, really well, it will ensure that everything around is well naturally, because that's the nature of life. You don't need morality, I want to be good to everybody. No such thing. When you're feeling wonderful, have you noticed this? When you're feeling joyful and wonderful, you're naturally wonderful to all the life around you. This is the way life works. No, you are miserable but you want to do good things. Your good things will create terrible things. Most terrible things on the planet have been done with good intentions, isn't it? So it's not good intention, it's not morality, it is not values and ethics. What is needed is, if a human being is full grown and feeling wonderful within himself or herself, absolutely blissful and wonderful, naturally they will do their best. And that's all that needs to happen, and that is success. That you are a full-grown human being, that is the greatest success.
Thank you, Guruji. And I'd like to introduce Anausha Divakar. She's a fellow Yuva member, and she has a question of her own to ask you. So I'll pass on the session to her.
So just to introduce Anusha, Guruji, she's actually turning 21 tomorrow. And she's going to start her second year. She's currently doing her MBA in Communications and Digital Marketing. So Anusha, over to you.
Namaskaram, Guruji. It's a very
Anusha,
big honor to share this
Can I
platform
wish
with
you…
today.
Can I wish you happy birthday, because that means I'll be preponing your birthday by 1 day and you'll get older by 1 day. Is that okay? Happy birthday to you.
Sure. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So my question was that the current scenario has increased the focus on self. Now it's all about the being of self and the life of self and the livelihood of oneself. So in such a case, what happens about contributing and giving such that we do not become a very individualistic society?
Well, I understand the relevance of the question, but I want you to look at the other side of it. See, as a person, self means you're talking about yourself as a person. If you are not doing well, what good things can you do to other people? It's very important that you're doing well. So as I said in the previous question to Yashwant, it is not because you have a great intention you will do great things. Simply because you have great capabilities, you do great things, isn't it? Without capability, you have intention. What is the point? Well, your good intentions are fine, but it is only going to make you extremely frustrated when you have good intentions and you have no capability. So competence and capability are of utmost value. Good intentions can come very easily, because when you are feeling wonderful, when you're joyful, do you see you have good intentions for everybody? And when you're miserable, do you see you want to scratch somebody's face? Yes or no? This is true for every human being. When you're feeling horrible, you want to do horrible things to people. When you're feeling wonderful, you want to do wonderful things to people. So the most fundamental insurance that everybody must take is that you're joyful by your own nature, not because of something that's happening to somebody or to you. You're just joyful by your own nature. Now it'll be very natural for you to do pleasant things to everybody around you as much as you can. Now, once it is natural for you to do pleasant things, how much can you do is not determined by your intention. How much can you do is determined by your competence and capability. So, enhancing the competence and capability of the self is very, very important, because you cannot enhance the competence and capability of a society or a nation without enhancing this, because individual is very, very important, because that's a reality. You exist. What we call as a society is just a word, it's a concept. What you call as a nation is a concept, but you exist, isn't it? So the only thing that you can enhance is individual people. If you do not enhance individual people, if you do not create great human beings, there is no great nation, there is no great world, isn't it? Only when you create really great individuals, there is a great generation of people. Otherwise, rest is all just talk, what we think in our minds, but in reality, it's only individual human beings who exist. Does it mean to say we start a religion of individualism as it's happened in the Western countries and beginning to happen here also? I'm very sure that that's what you're trying to address. But there is no point fighting against it, because this individualism has come mainly because people are constantly worried about their well-being. Why are they worried about their well-being? Fundamentally, they're not well, that's why. If you are feeling very joyful, you have noticed, Anusha, that on a certain day when you're very happy, you are willing to bend backwards for other people and do whatever they need. On a certain day you're little unhappy, that day you're not willing to do anything for anybody, is that so? It is so for every human being. Because when you're very, very pleasant within yourself, you will bend backwards for anybody. But when you're feeling unpleasant within yourself, you will see how to do the minimum that you can do. You will not do the maximum. So being joyful, what it means is, or being not joyful, what it means is, if you are not joyful, even what you can do, you will not do. If you are joyful, one thing that will happen is, everything that you can do, you will do. So in our lives, if we do not do what we cannot do, there is no problem. But if we do not do what we can do, we are a disaster. So if you want to avoid this disaster, first and foremost thing is, this self must be joyful and wonderful. If this is wonderful, it will naturally do wonderful things. How much? Depends on the competence. Again, it's about the self.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guruji. Guruji, if we can get a little bit more time with you, we don't want this session to be over at all. So if there is time for 2 more quick questions, then we'd like to be able to ask you those and then close this session.
Please, let's do it quick.
Yes, yes, Guruji. So Raghu has another question, I'm coming back.
Guruji, you talk about realizing possibilities in this life. How does one know what possibilities exist for us, what our limit is, and how do we do this with an attitude of positivity and not get bogged down by our failures?
Hello? Is it okay? The audio is okay?
Yes, yes, Guruji, we can hear you.
See, these days because of satellites, we are missing this point. Otherwise, let's say we have a problem right now in the northern border of this nation. Unfortunately, we can't call it a border, we have to call it LAC. You know, there is a LAC, there is a LOC, and I don't know what the eastern border is because there is no line there, everybody's in and out. So, in the border, if you want to see something clearly, what would you do? You would climb a tree and look at it. Otherwise, if there was a hill, you would go and sit on top of a hill or a mountain and look down, because you know by going higher, you can see better. From the same principle, we saw the best thing is to put it as high as possible. So we put the satellites outside the atmosphere and from there we are looking now. So essentially, if you want to see better, you need altitude. Altitude means you have grown tall, that's what it means. So, if we want to see and spot the possibilities, one most important thing is we must grow tall. Tall, not just physically tall, that doesn't help in this kind of possibilities. The important thing is, see, the human structure is made like this. Our body is very frail compared to many other creatures. See, a virus that cannot kill even a pangolin kills us, all right? Can't kill a bat, but it kills us. because we are very frail physically. Because our energies, our making is more invested in our intelligence, in our awareness, in our consciousness. So our energies are invested not so physically, we don't have the robustness of a wild boar. But we have an intelligence, we have an awareness, we have a consciousness. These words are not very descriptive because in English language these words don't really say exactly what you want to say. Let us say what you call as your intelligence or your intellect, let us say. Your intellect is a certain computing machine. Depending upon the kind of data that you have, it will compute and arrive at answers. If you keep it well serviced, it will arrive at a reasonably good answer, but only from the limited data that you have. Because it doesn't see anything else, it only works, it's just like your computer, only from the data, the software that is already there, only based on that it works. That's how your intellect works, that's one way of seeing possibilities. So today everybody is talking about data, data, data everywhere in the world. It's very distressing for me because this means humanity is going backwards. All other dimensions of intelligence, they're surrendering to data because data means something that we already know, no new possibility there. Within that we are searching. It is like we are searching in the garbage bin for food. You know, who does that? Only somebody who is really down and out will go and search for food, unfortunately, in the garbage bin. So, what is already been used and there, in that we are searching for possibilities, this is one way of living. Well, there is a dimension of intelligence which is beyond this, within us. Well, there are many words attached to this, let me put it in a single word, because there is intelligence which is subjugated to the memory that you have gathered, and there is an intelligence which is not subjugated to the memory that you have gathered. Beyond your memory, beyond the boundaries of your memory, there is an intelligence, which generally in the yogic culture we call it as chitta. If you access this, suddenly you have a satellite. You are able to see everything that other people don't see. So, it is important, once again it comes to the same thing. If we want to function well in the world, if we want to do anything well, anywhere, we must invest on this machine, enhancing this, isn't it? Without enhancing this person, how big possibilities will happen? Everybody is looking in the world. World is fine, but if you enhance this, possibilities will naturally come. How will it not come? It has to come. So this aspect is completely missing in our education systems, all data. Our entire education system is data. Now with the virus, they're feeling ridiculous, all the educational institutions, because slowly they're beginning to realize without them also people can educate themselves. This I realized long time ago, but they're realizing now. Without all this infrastructure and fanfare, you can still educate yourself, it's possible to do that. Because data, like never before in the history of humanity, data is available everywhere, isn't it? You don't have to go read a textbook for data, you don't have to go listen to your teacher for data. There was a time there was only one man in your village who could read. So everybody sat there with their mouths open to listen to that man reading Gita or Veda or something else. Those days are over. Now, you don't even have to know to read, you can still get as much data as you want. That's what you're doing right now with the conference, all right? So once data is all over the place, investing our 20, 30 years of our life just to gather data is very silly because at the tip of your fingers there is data. What you need to enhance is an intelligence which is not enslaved to your memory. Then possibilities, every possibility you will see, you will not miss a thing.
Thank you, Sadhguruji.
Thank you so much, Guruji. I think for all of us and for all the young Indians who are watching you at this time, this has been an exceptional moment. We've learned so much and I think we have so much to take back with us. I think Karthik and I would definitely like to extend an offer to you, Guruji, to be a part of Young Indians. I think you are…
I was about to ask you to give me a membership so that everybody will understand that I'm only 22.
Absolutely, Guruji. That would be our privilege, and I think all of us young Indians would feel so proud to be in the same cohort as you. Thank you so much, Guruji. I'd also like to mention that we have here with us Harsh from Calcutta and Sandeep from Hyderabad, who are our learning chairs, and they've put in so much of effort to make this.
Namaskaram, both of you.
And I'd like to hand over to Sandeep for the final vote of thanks. Thank you so much, Guruji. It's been
Yes, Sadhguruji, your gentle words today filled our heart with gratitude and showed us all the ray of hope. I'm sure all of us feel like a different person who has much positive outlook towards life. I sincerely acknowledge the time that you gave us for this session, answering our questions and teaching us how to live in this time of need. Thank you for being such an inspiration. Your spreading of love, appreciation and affection is contagious. Thank you for enlightening us on following issues like tree plantation, developing the ecosystem, tree-based agriculture, and importance of inner engineering. On behalf of CII Young Indians, I would like to thank Isha Foundation and team members of Isha Foundation for coordinating this event with us. I would also like to thank all the panelists for moderating the event. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge all YI members and UA members and guests for joining us today. Remember, as we express our gratitude towards Sadhguruji, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter the words, but to live by them. Thank you so much, Guruji.
Namaskaram. Thank you very much. Namaskaram.